Take off your shoes. You will wear the shoes of a sinner.
Hello everyone, so I have decided to do a vlog kind of style thing for Garbaugust. I did this for Horror Mayhem, I did it for Rocket Summer, and I wasn't going to do it for Garbaugust, but actually after my first two books, which I'm going to talk about in a second, I think it might be quite an interesting thing to do. And I don't know, I've got a feeling I might actually get to a couple of books I might actually like in Garbaugust this year. But anyway, just to start off with, straight away, I was able to start a Garbaugust book on the 1st. So I read, or started to read, and then obviously eventually finished Nightmare in New York, which is an executioner book. And it was really good, actually. It was I wasn't expecting it to be very good. I read Nick Carter stuff, and I kind of thought it would be a bit like that. I read a couple of books about the Saint, and I was kind of expecting that kind of thing. But this is definitely better written. Just the words he uses are better words. Some of it's really kind of choice phrases that are like, that was interesting. So it's not necessarily more descriptive, although it probably is, but it's more about some of the similes and yeah. So I think some of the similes and metaphors that he was using were really clever and quite witty. So yeah, Nightmare in New York definitely impressed me, and if I plan to do another executioner book at some point, I'll definitely be expecting something good. Whereas like the survivalist book I read, I didn't really get much off that one either. So this is the first time I've read a men's adventure one with that kind of action-packed, macho kind of book, and thought it was really well written. So yeah, I did get a warning that it was good, but I still wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. So yeah, the Nightmare in New York book was good. It was kind of an interesting ending. It's like he sort of blew everything up and then walked away. Classic. And then I've started reading this, the Dolly Parton book. So I'm reading this in honour of Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, who we lost a little while ago. And I am really impressed, really, really impressed. I think I'm biased because it's touching on parts of my life that are very important to me. I'm a musician and a songwriter who has probably not in the same way that I had in my 20s, but have dreams of success, and that's what this is all about. And I watched some interviews with the two of them as well, and it looks like they've written it together in a really genuine sense, where they've been sending each other paragraphs and stuff. And for me, I can hear Dolly Parton's voice all the way through it. I've seen tons and tons of interviews with Dolly Parton through the years, because I think she's quite awesome, and I can hear her voice in there, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm 100 pages in and really enjoying it. I think it's a fun book, and it definitely, the last thing that's just happened, actually, the last bit I've just read, the main character was recognised in a cafe, and she was given a free drink because she was recognised from playing in the street. And the way that I am biased with this book, the way it affects me, is I absolutely know what that feeling is like. When, you know, I've been recognised a number of times, but there's one particular time that kind of relates to that, where I just went to a pub and someone said, oh my God, you're the guy from Bemis, and then they got their manager over and said, can I just give this guy a complimentary drink, his band's brilliant. And I got a drink out of just being in Bemis. So and I'm not flexing because we're not famous, but I know how that feels, and it feels amazing. Just little things like that. So if that's what's going to be full of, if it's going to be full of that kind of thing in this book, I'll definitely relate to it, and I'll definitely be willing her on, and we'll find out how it develops. So I'm turning this Garbology experience this year into a vlog, and I just wanted to add a little thing about two books. So I found this book in a charity shop, and I got it thinking this would be a really good thing to read. Back in the 80s, there was a series over in the UK called Our Feeder's Own Pet, and it's about brickies working in Germany. So it's like quite an important kind of cultural thing, because it's full of commentary about British workers working in Germany. There's lots of that in it, but it was a comedy. It was a bit of a character piece. They all had very distinctive characters. It was a very successful series, and Jimmy Nail was really famous at the time because of it. Timothy Spall ended up being famous in a big way and has had all sorts of different roles in his acting career. He was recently what's he called? The Collector, I think his name is, in Guardians of the Galaxy. These guys ended up being famous in Britain. Sadly, this guy died really young. But anyway, Auf Wiedersehen Pet was a very successful TV series. So I thought I'd get this and read it. So this is a novelisation, obviously, of the start of the series, I guess. When the going gets tough and jobs are scarce, well, what can three likely lads do? Unless, of course, they leave for England and make their way to Germany in search of high wages, no taxes, luxury hostels, beer kellers, and flaxen-haired Frauleins. Once there, however, the reality might be different, particularly when it's willkommen to a stalag-like hut on a desolate building site, miles from the town centre and a very long way from home. So there's that. So I'm probably going to read that because I think that will fit Garbaugust really well, and I think I'm definitely curious. I don't know if I'll enjoy it, but I'm definitely curious. So there's that one. And then I wanted to shout out to MJ from Reading This Life, a good friend of mine who everybody loves the channel for all the right reasons. Her channel's fantastic. But she actually gave a host recommendation, which is a book I've already had for a while and just haven't got around to yet. So I'm now putting this in at the top of the pile as well for this month. Liar Mouth, A Feel-Bad Romance by John Waters. John Waters, obviously famous for doing the original version of Hairspray, but doing lots of controversial films at the beginning of his career with Divine. Yeah, this could be interesting. So I'm going to read that, but I'm a little further on in the Dolly Parton book. It's really good. I need to read a Star Trek book after that, then I'll look at these ones. So there we are. Okay, so the next part of the vlog, possibly the most important part of the vlog, who knows, is this. This has arrived. The Garbology. CriminOlly presents the Garbology. The Garbaugust anthology of awesome trash. Edited by Troy Trellope. This is an amazing thing, and I'm very proud to be part of it. It's wonderful to have a physical copy. Thanks, Troy, for making that happen. But thanks, Olly, for spearheading this. Troy, I know, did a lot of work in formatting it, and I think you two have done an amazing thing and brought this thing to light in a way that none of this would have existed without you asking for submissions. And there's great stories as well as artwork. I was going to show you a couple, but where is it? There's one there. And it's just wonderful to see it in the flesh. It looks really good, actually. It looks really, really good. I love the way it's formatted. And it feels really good. It's a big chunk of a book. It's 440 something pages. But it doesn't look or feel like it. It's nice. It's really nicely done. Perfect size text. Really nice. So obviously my story, as I said, I'm very, very pleased to be in it. There's another great illustration here. Oh no, it's a this is a tribute to the cigarette ads that you get. I love that. Love it. So where's my one? It's here somewhere. Mine's in the... My story is in the... what do they call it? When Animals Attack section. And there it is. There it is. This is quite short, but yeah, it's quite dramatic. But you've got stories by MJ and Troy, obviously, and Olly. You've got NB Clark, Frank Pompey, Paul McDonald. There's loads of stories. Oh, Jim Collins is in here. Ryan Thomas Labie. Erie Beverly, who comments a lot on our pages. Loads and loads of people. There might be some people on here that I don't realise it's their name, if you know what I mean. Yeah, their real name is on here. But yeah, the Garbology. Very cool. Thank you to Olly and Troy for allowing me to be a part of it. Really, really pleased to be a part of that. Oh, and the other thing that appeared in the post that's worth mentioning, it's not necessarily trash related as far as I know, but it's a crime writer that I keep hearing about, Jim Thompson. Pop 1280 is a book that I also keep hearing about. It's apparently a little bit crazy, and there was a booktuber that mentioned it recently, and that was the last straw. I thought, I've got to get this. So I'm going to try out Jim Thompson. Very enthusiastic about this. It should be cool. So that arrived on the post from eBay. It was only like a few quid. So yeah, that's adding to my collection. Okay, let's talk about good storytelling. So a lot of it's to do with language. It's about rhythm. It's about setting something up, expectation, character, wit. I have decided to jump into this one. In the middle of the Dolly Parton book, I'm going to read this book, Cinnamon by Lawrence Block. And I'm really reading it because I just picked it up. I was just curious, picked it up. I thought I'd read a couple of sentences. And I was like, oh my God. So I thought I'd read the first page. First page in a bit, maybe. And I think you might get what I mean about how gripping it is straight away, how he gets you involved very, very quickly. And it's just brilliantly written. Absolutely brilliantly written. So Lawrence Block, Cinnamon. Oh, for Christ's sake, I said, you can get up now. No matter how long you lie there, nobody's going to give you a fucking Academy Award for it. No response. I noted the trickle of blood from her temple, the angle of her head where it met surrounded the fieldstone fireplace. I stood there waiting for someone to run the film backward, waiting for her to rise up from the carpet, waiting for my hand to draw back from her face, to delete the blow that had sent her stumbling and falling and cracking her head on the stone, with a sound that still echoed through the room. Waiting for the past 5 minutes to erase themselves. I don't know how long it took me to kneel down next to her. I felt for a pulse that wasn't there. Tried to remember what else you were supposed to do. In movies, they'd see if there was a trace of breath to fog a pocket mirror. But strangely enough, I didn't happen to have a mirror in my pocket. There was a large mirror mounted above the fireplace. I thought of hauling Ellen to her feet and pressing her face against the mirror. But that didn't strike me as a very good idea. Or I could try smashing the thing and holding a piece of it to her lips. But I had the feeling I was already in for enough bad luck. I didn't need 7 years more. I could just wait a few hours and see if she cooled to room temperature. That would be a pretty good sign, wouldn't it? Not that I needed a sign. What I needed was someone to blame. How about Ray Danton or Legs Diamond, the slick fellow I'd watched him play a few hours earlier? Or another slick fellow, Johnny Walker by name, whose picture was on the bottle of the mantle over the fireplace. The bottle was half empty or half full, depending on whether you were an optimist or a pessimist. But there looked to be two bottles. One, the mirror's reflection of the other. One was half empty, I decided, and the other was half full. I dismissed the bottle in the mirror and uncapped the real one. Haven't you had enough to drink? Ellen's voice, clear as a bell in my head, as if it was still echoing through the room. God knows she's spoken that sentence often enough over the years, and the answer was always no. I hadn't had enough to drink, now that she mentioned it. But maybe this time she was right. I'd need a clear head, wouldn't I? For what? I compromised by taking a short pull straight from the bottle, then recapped it and set it down. My wife was dead, and while I might try to blame her for provoking the blow, for falling clumsily, for landing wrong, it was clearly my fault and not hers. Nor can I blame those 3 old smoothies, Ray and Legs and Johnny, though they'd all played their part. What a beginning. What a beginning. So, yeah, violence and crime. I noticed straight away, a few pages later, how this book is going to develop plot-wise, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. So, Lawrence Block's Cinnamon is going to be read before I finish the Dolly Part 1. So yeah, in this part of the vlog, I'm going to be in Cardiff. I'm in Cardiff. I'm in another country. I might not have crossed water, but I'm in Cardiff, and I'm going to see Billy Joel tonight in the Cardiff Stadium. So I'm very, very excited. I'm getting goosebumps already, and it's hours before. There's lots of pubs playing Billy Joel, which is quite funny. And I went in a record shop and they were playing Billy Joel. But I'm just outside Waterstones. So I'm going to look for a second-hand bookshop that looks really cool here. But yeah, in Cardiff. Okay, as I said, they're playing Billy Joel everywhere. This is a restaurant and they're playing Billy Joel, and you might not be able to hear it, to be fair. They're playing My Life, which you might play tonight. I've just been in Troutmark Books. Oh my god, crazy. I found some incredible things there. It's just an amazing shop. If you're in Cardiff, go to Troutmark Books. But I've got to find my place to stay. So one of the things that's different about vlogs to just setting up a camera and doing a video and editing the video is that these are in different places. And I'm definitely in a different place at the minute because I'm in Wales. So I came to Cardiff for 2 days because I've gone to see Billy Joel, which you would have just seen in the video. I didn't put loads of it because that's not really the point of the video. This is about Garbaugust, and I thought it'd be nice because I've found some great bookshops in Cardiff, and specifically this one is definitely worth seeking out. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I was like aghast. I was staring at oh my god, I can't believe how much is here. Troutmark Books. And just quickly, I managed to find some incredibly good condition old Mad books. So these are from the 50s. Utterly Mad. Like literally, like most amazing condition. Utterly Mad. The Bedside Mad. They really, really smell. You can tell how old a book is when it smells like this. The Bedside Mad, like beautiful condition, absolutely beautiful condition. Don't know if that's coming over in the video, but the condition is crazy. The Bedside Mad and Son of Mad, which I've got, but not a very good condition one. And this is just fantastic, as I keep saying. Son of Mad and The Ides of Mad. Again, I've got this one, but not in as good condition. So that was really cool. And I found a nice copy of The Drowned World. So I quite like this copy. It's a very, one of the complaints that get made a lot with modern science fiction covers, and I totally get this, and I think it's true, is that they're more of a design and an illustration, which is true about this. This is more of a design and an illustration or painting. But I still like it, so I like this one, The Drowned World, and I don't find The Drowned World very often. I try and collect my Ballard stuff in those. I can't remember what the imprint is, but it's like they're all white. The covers are all white, and I've got so many in that I'm trying to be consistent. But yeah, I got Drowned World. I found a John Carter of Mars book, so this is number 11 in the series. So it's right towards the end of the series, and I've got most of them. But I didn't have this one. Again, really good condition. I found another one. I can't remember which one it was. Warlord of Mars, I think it was. And the guy was really nice and said there's some missing pages. And I didn't notice. And I thought it was really good that he said that. So I didn't get that because it had missing pages. But yeah, that was really good to find. And a couple of New Yorker related things. I think I've got this, but it's quite an essential part of my cartoonist collection. And this is like ridiculous condition. It's perfect condition. And it's old. It's an old book. So this goes back to the 40s. Yeah, this goes back to the 40s, and the condition is insane. So the Penguin Peterano. And then this is one of my prized possessions. I'm never going to get rid of my copy of this. But I've got another copy, because this, again, is the condition's phenomenal. So this is Gain Wilson's Is Nothing Sacred. The first ever book I had by Gain Wilson, who's one of my favourite cartoonists. So you'll find his stuff all over the place if you're into science fiction or you're into the New Yorker. So Gain Wilson's Is Nothing Sacred, the first book I had by him, now in like perfect condition. So that was really good. And then one last one, The Art of J.K. Potter. J.K. Potter's stuff I discovered first in the Twilight Zone magazine, and I love his style. He kind of does these sort of photo manipulation images, and they're really, really interesting. And you see them on magazine covers and book covers. So yeah, I was really pleased to see this. And I've known about this book for a while and always wanted it. So it's really good to see it. So there's that. So let's talk about the fact that I've now finished Cinnamon. And it was very exploitative. It was very violent, very kind of nasty, really, in its tone. And a few sex scenes. So it definitely fits Garbaugust. It was brilliant. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was really compelling, interesting. The first person narrative is utterly authentic and convincing and brilliantly written. Some of there's a lot of wit in it, which I think is a big part of crime fiction. There's a lot of wit in this, and the ending is brilliant. The whole setup's a really good, clever setup. It's a man who murders his wife quite brutally at the beginning, and quite flippantly, and the language in that first couple of scenes is really interesting, but then decides to just start a new identity to kind of move on, and then it gets really heavy, and then the ending kind of is a lovely top and tail thing. So yeah, definitely recommend this. Cinnamon's really good. And this is rattling along nicely. I haven't finished this yet, but it is really, I think it's good. And I'm probably gonna read it with another one interrupting it as well, because I'm just going to read bits of it. But it is really good, and I'd recommend it if you like kind of, I don't know, cozy relationshipy things. It's almost like a romance thing amongst the music world. But yeah, I am enjoying it. So I don't know if I'm probably going to go to a novelization-y type thing next. So maybe Dark Star or Quantum Leap or Planet of the Apes or something like that, maybe. We'll see how we get on. Hi everyone, so welcome back to this vlog. It's been a couple of days since the last bit, because I've come home from the Billy Joel gig, which you saw a little bit of, and went to a family gathering thing today. But I have finished this. I've finished the Dolly Parton book, and I think I could probably talk for ages about it, because it's quite an interesting and complicated book in some ways. So obviously it's written by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. I can hear Dolly Parton's voice all the way through it. James Patterson kind of made his career through writing thrillers, and there's a thriller element. So I didn't really hint at that when I spoke about it in the last clip. It's got this sort of romance, rags to riches element that is the main part of it. But there's a thriller element that's kind of bubbling under and then gets more important towards the end. And I think it would have been a better book, or I would have liked it more if that was a bigger feature, because I think it got really interesting then. And there's a bit in the middle where I was fine, because I'm quite interested in the development of singer-songwriters and the Nashville scene and stuff like that, because that kept me going. But I imagine people might think it sags in the middle a little bit. as the character Annie is getting her career established by the mentor character, who's essentially Dolly Parton. As that's developing in the book, I imagine people might think a little bit like, oh, get on with it. But I quite like that bit as well. But it's interesting the way it's written. I think one of the things that makes this a bit of an airport novel, if you know what that means, it's not just the fact it's got very famous people involved in it, and it's got a lot of hype behind it, and it's clearly based around the fame subject. The way it's written is interesting because it's like small chapters that seem like short scenes. Every time there's a different scene, it goes to another chapter. Literally, you got like 2-page chapters, and these are like clearly little nuggets to possibly appeal to people who don't normally read a lot, maybe, which might be the thing, because some people, I think the airport novels, if you like, are kind of there for people who literally just read on holiday in the summer, and that's like their main source of reading, or the main moment when they read. So I think that might be a thing, but it didn't worry me, and I think people might criticize it for that it's got this sort of short clipped rhythm, but I thought that was fine, and I thought it was an interesting book. I just think the thriller element could have been bigger, and the plot that it's leading to could be a bigger feature in it, the kind of the suspenseful element of it. So that was that. So I'm just going to tell you the 3 books I'm going to tackle next, because I'm going to do this quite quickly, hopefully. So I found this in Cardiff, which is pretty cool, a non-fiction book inside Rowan Martin's Laughing. So I find that show quite fascinating. It's full of dad jokes, but it's definitely a piece of period TV. So I do find it interesting to watch, and I'm going to find this a really interesting thing to read. It's a great find, and you've got kind of photos from the time, as well as sort of important information about the show. So this looks like an interesting book. So I'm going to read that next, and then shout out to Brandy at the Book Collectic. I'm going to be reading this one next. So I'm also taking part in Book Trek 2024. How Much for Just the Planet is the next one I'm going to read for that. So this obviously fits into novelisation tie-in kind of aspect of Garbaugust, but it also fits into Book Trek. So I'm going to be reading that next with Brandy, hopefully. And then I'm going to get to this after that, which is the one that is recommended by MJ, Lion Mouth, John Waters, notorious filmmaker and interesting man. I'm going to read that, so I'll tell you what that's like as well. But for now, this is the end of the vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and stay curious.
Paint me a picture of what it's like to be